Hello everybody and welcome to this video about STO, Stress Tension Overload Syndrome. So in this video I'm going to help you figure out whether your condition is actually STO, whether you have fibromyalgia, whiplash, post-concussion or something very similar. This is very important for you. And the reason it's so important is because STO is practically identical to those diagnoses. And best of all, it's completely treatable by yourself. So if you discover at the end of this video that you have STO, then there is some good news, very, very good news for you. So I hope you will spend these few minutes just watching this video and judge for yourself. So the first point I would like to make is about what is fibromyalgia, what is whiplash, and what is post-concussion syndrome, what is chronic fatigue syndrome, and what is migraine, and so on. The first point is that nobody knows. Some think that fibromyalgia is Lyme disease, some think it's Borrelia, some people think it's stress-related, whereas some people think it's just made up and people are basically just hypochondriacs. The next point I would like to make is that you cannot really consider these different diagnoses as diseases. It's rather just containers. So in one container, the container called fibromyalgia, you might have some cases of Lyme disease, you might have some cases of Borrelia, you might have some cases of stress and some other variations. In the container called whiplash, you might have some cases called where the vertebrae are dislocated. You might have some ligament damages. You might have a little bit of brain damage as well, and you might also have a lot of STO. And in the post-concussion container, you also might have different underlying diseases in this one. So the different diagnoses are not illnesses. It's only containers for underlying illnesses that we don't really know. So in another way, it's the doctor's way of saying to you, I acknowledge you have, there's something wrong with you, but I don't know what it is. So if you come to the doctor and you tell him, well, I have these and these symptoms, my head hurts, my arms hurt, I feel dizzy, and so on and so on. And if you tell him that you've been in a car accident, then you will probably get the diagnosis whiplash. If you come to the doctor and tell him exactly the same, but you don't mention any particular accident, then you might get the diagnosis fibromyalgia. If you come to him and tell him, well, I have these symptoms and I fell on a ski trip or on ice skates, then you might get the diagnosis post-concussion. So the question is then, how can you explain all of these very complicated symptoms only based on trigger points and stress? Well, all the pain symptoms are rather straightforward. It is at the core of trigger point theory that the trigger points cause severe pain. So trigger points in the upper part of your body will send a lot of pain into your head, a lot of pain into your back, a lot of pain into the neck, a lot of pain into your eyes as well, and to your jaw and teeth. So that part of the symptoms is understood and is rather straightforward. The next part of symptoms is all these cognitive problems. So how can you explain memory loss? How can you explain loss of concentration and so on? For those two, I usually say, well, imagine you have a really bad hangover. You have also got the flu. You haven't been sleeping for, let's say, 3 weeks. On top of that, your back hurts very, very badly. Your arms are tingling and you can't really feel your fingers. You have a hay fever, and so on and so on. In that case, imagine just how difficult it is to concentrate. And obviously, if you cannot concentrate and take information into your head, then obviously you cannot remember it either. So this makes sense as well. Then you have such a thing as dizziness. Well, it's a proven, or it's a very known fact that sternocleidomastoid sends pain into your inner ear, which is responsible for balance, for your orientation. Hence, it will give you balance problems, it will give you dizziness, and it will also give you nausea. And then finally, we have such a thing as tiredness. Well, firstly, if you're very, very stressed, and also if you don't sleep, you will be tired. So stress and sleep deprivation or insomnia alone explains tiredness very well. On top of that, even if you are not stressed and even if you sleep very well, you can still be tired from this condition, because trigger points can send a very mild pain into your head, into your eyes, and this feels exactly as tiredness. So from my point of view, I felt tired all the time, but I couldn't sleep. And even if I did sleep, I would just feel tired as well again. So one of the big revelations for me was that when I realized that tiredness was actually just due to some active trigger points, usually in the levator scapula and in the upper trapezius. Right, so the next million-dollar question is, do you have, or do you just have STO? Because if you do, it's great news. You can be completely cured and you can do it yourself for free at home. So the first list of on the first point on the checklist is, do you have any of these symptoms? Whiplash, post-concussion, fibromyalgia, migraine, or chronic fatigue syndrome. If you have one of those, or multiple maybe of those, then it speaks for you having STO. The next list of criteria here is, do you have very sore and tight muscles? Are you really sore and very tight? Do you have a sensitive personality? Are you prone to stress? Do you worry a lot? Do you have a perfectionistic personality? Do you feel that you always have to overachieve and overdo yourself? The next would be, well, do you have a stressed personality? Do you feel stressed? Do you have a bad posture or posture? Have you been in an accident? Do you have any kind of traumatic event in your illness history? Do you maybe even feel very protective about particular areas of your body? Have you been through a stressful period? And this is the general characteristics. The next one is, do you have pain? So, do you have headaches? Do you have pain in the neck? Do you have pain in the teeth, in the jaw? Do you have pain in the eyes? Do you have pain in your hands and your fingers? Do you have pain in your arms and your shoulder and your chest and your back? So a lot of widespread spread pain. And then we have all those symptoms which are actually trigger point related, but are not experienced as pain itself. So one thing is tingling and numbness in the hands and fingers. Another one is lack of power in your hands. Another one is tinnitus or tinnitus. And two other ones are sensitivity to sounds and sensitivity to light. Do you have watering eyes or maybe hay fever symptoms? And do you feel nausea, dizzy and out of balance? Do you have visual disturbances or difficult reading? Do you find it difficult to focus on text when you're reading? And do you have an irritation of your eyes and nose? Finally, we have what I call secondary symptoms, and those are, you have an inability to concentrate, to remember, and to focus. You have insomnia, or you just don't sleep very well. You're stressed and you are tired. and you have, very importantly, you have a sensation of living in jelly or living in a vacuum. So this is a sensation where the world doesn't really seem to exist within further away than 1 meter, so you can't really focus. Alright, so I hope you have come to the conclusion that all of this makes sense to you, and that you just might have STO. If you do, it's great news, it's wonderful news for you, because you can get rid of all of the symptoms that I have just read up. So if those symptoms match you very well, then the next step is for you to figure out, how do you actually cure yourself? How do you implement this program? What should you do? And fortunately, I make these videos, and I have a lot of information on my website, and all the information is publicly available for you to go and do it. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it useful, please share it with other people who need it. For daily video updates, please like my page on Facebook, Curialistic.com, or visit my website www.curialistic.com. If you've got any questions, please add me on Facebook, Gustav Grundsø. Thank you.